All right, welcome to the next segment of our second helping episode.
Yeah.
Where we're going to talk about the lasting effect or the legacy of Akira.
And this won't be probably super comprehensive because we
No.
haven't really thought about this one too much. There were some things that jumped out at us and some things that were kind of obvious about things that kind of were born out of Akira. And I'm sure there are hundreds of others that I'm not even thinking of. And you probably do a whole. I think we talked about that before, that we could just do like a podcast on Stephen King stories or something. It's like you could probably do a podcast on everything that related to Akira.
And there's also a lot of like you could point to influence things that might have influenced Akira, kind of like Superman. Like Akira was like just Superman gone amok.
Yeah.
At least in the beginning. But I don't think Superman, generally speaking, I don't think Superman was influenced by Akira.
I don't imagine.
And it's kind of like that with a lot of the American comics. Like we had mutants, we had people with superhero type abilities, but I wouldn't really attribute any of the modern, like let's say Marvel ideas to Akira.
Yeah.
Some of the movies, Chronicle is a good one, where we would see Chronicle and we would think, hey, well, that was inspired by Superman or whatever. It's like, well, it's probably more inspired by Akira than it was Superman. The extraterrestrial element where they found it was like a meteorite, and that's what gave them powers. Okay, that's more like Superman than is Akira. But the themes and especially the progression of the characters, the character development within Chronicles, totally mirrors Akira.
It's interesting that you brought that one up first, because that was one of the notes I made while watching this the other night. I was like, this is totally Chronicle.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. It's because that relationship with the characters. Chronicle, Dane DeHaan is the actor that played Andrew Detmer in that, and I think Alex Russell was his kind of like, he wasn't a brother, he was just a friend, wasn't he?
Right.
Then Michael Jordan was the other like friend that they got the same powers, and the two of them were kind of like having fun with it. And the what was his name, Andrew, was completely like bullied in school. So like, I mean, you get into some pretty graphic stuff in Chronicle. Did you remember like he pull a guy's teeth out?
Yeah.
Like
it's been a while since I watched the movie. You gotta watch it again. That was a good film.
He does like just like psychically like extracts a guy's like teeth or something, and he kind of goes back after everybody that came after him. And I can't remember the arc with the girl, but it almost kind of develops almost exactly like Akira, to where like he comes to downtown instead of the military kind of coming to fighting, the other two friends come to try to stop him, and they're just destroying downtown. And
yeah, if like you could see Chronicle, you could see like maybe if an Akira, Kaneda got powers as well, and they sort of had that a little bit with Kay, where she was being controlled by the Espers.
Yeah.
So they did have a little bit of that.
Yeah, then when you talk about it that way, you kind of skip the part like with the military trying to stop Tetsuo on the way to the stadium, where it gets to Kaneda with his rifle and Kay with the psychic powers kind of taking turns trying to fight him and just not being able to stop him because he was so powerful. It really makes it seem like, wow, they really were influenced by this.
Right.
But that's a really good Chronicles. It's not one of the first ones. It's probably one of the main ones, though. I guess after oh my goodness, what was the monster movie that was a sort of like a
Super 8?
Oh no.
Cloverfield. Yeah.
No, not, I guess found footage, is that the right word?
Yeah.
For those are first person perspective of them, somebody filming it and kind of following them around. Chronicle was very much the same way, and probably the two main movies from that kind of style of stuff that I really liked. I know there's a ton of them.
That's hilarious because thinking about that, those two, Chronicle and Cloverfield. Yeah, Cloverfield is very much a found footage movie in my mind.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot Chronicle was a found footage film.
Yeah, he's filming himself most of the time, and then like he's even using his psychic powers to like
move the camera and stuff.
The camera's like following him around, and like he's taping when he gets revenge on people.
And when he like goes downtown, it's like footage from like a cell phone or something like that.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
surveillance cameras from the city that are just kind of
Yeah.
showing like a static like angle, and then showing like him coming in and like blowing police back and blowing windows out of buildings and all that kind of stuff. So
I definitely think that's one of the more like direct influenced movies where you like you were saying when you watch it, especially after watching Akira or with Akira in mind, you're just constantly saying, "Hey, that's like Akira."
And I was thinking the same thing about Brightburn, but I think it's kind of more like Brightburn is really more the story of like what if Superman was bad.
Yeah, that was definitely a takeoff of Superman.
Definitely not a chase after this, but there's a lot of like imagery from this that kind of feels like Akira.
The cape,
yeah.
I mean, if I would be surprised if the cape wasn't a nod to Tetsuo.
Yeah, because he's just like, is he on his way to the stadium when he just stops and he gets like the?
No, he gets that from the bar, doesn't he? The cape. Isn't that like it's like a tablecloth or something?
Okay.
Yeah, he's like,
I know he gets it and he just kind of throws it around himself like, now I got a cape, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very similar to Brightburn, where he's just flying around with like a piece of cloth from his house or a curtain or whatever that is. He made like a little mask for himself so people wouldn't recognize him. I think the most direct thing that come from this is Stranger Things.
Okay.
That's I think the Duffer Brothers don't like. We talked about that, I think, in an earlier segment. The difference between borrowing from somebody and acknowledging it, and stealing from somebody and acting like you didn't. That the Duffer Brothers come out and openly say that their big two influences for Stranger Things was Akira and Elfenlied or Lead. I don't know how you say that.
I've always said Lead. I don't know if it's right.
That's probably right. Do not ever come to me looking for proper pronunciations.
I mean, we're which is a couple guys from Appalachia. That's don't ask us. I mess up anyone's name, so
even
it's fine.
Even talking about Akira, I say Kaneda. You're saying
Kaneda.
I've
always said Kaneda, but like in the films, it's always pronounced Kaneda.
Yeah. Who knows?
Anyways, and the only reason I pronounce it Kaori is that's how Tetsuo pronounces it. Kaori.
Yeah. I see that, and I'm like Kaori.
Yeah, right.
But have you seen Elfenlied or Lead?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I've watched some of that before, and I'm not into shows that because I think there's nudity and
she's naked. Like at least for the first couple episodes.
She's supposed to be a teenage-ish girl.
Probably.
I was like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, when she escapes, she's like wearing just a helmet.
But in that one, it's kind of really directly like him when he's leaving the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Just like she's blowing people up, like with her mind, isn't she?
They're psychic hands. They're invisible psychic hands.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen an episode or two of it and I stopped because I'm like, this feels weird, man.
Yeah, she has the imperceptible to human vision. She has these like arms that come out from her back, and she just like beats the crap out of people with them.
That's one of the lines I have in anime. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing the weird kid thing. But going back to Stranger Things, obviously the kids in Stranger Things are numbered.
Yeah.
The main character is 11. And
yeah.
In Akira, you're dealing with 25, 26, 27, and 28. They all have telekinetic powers and Stranger Things. I think she even escapes 11 escapes in a hospital gown at the beginning of that series. And I never saw I guess I haven't seen the last season of Stranger Things.
Me neither. There's 5 seasons. I've seen through 4.
Yeah.
That's one place. If Stranger Things was inspired by Akira, as the Duffer Brothers say they were, one of the ways that they either deviated too far, I think, or kind of dropped the ball, was the idea that the person that came before the characters you're dealing with now. So the Akira character in the Stranger Things world is, what's his name? Can you just Google like the bad guy in Stranger Things?
Vesper?
I was thinking something like that. Something like that. Yeah.
But
that guy, when he becomes something else, he becomes something bad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the difference between Akira and Stranger Things is he becomes bad. The world he creates is an evil world, and it comes back to consume our world.
Well, that's kind of the. I think that's a neat tie-in between this and Akira because the Espers take away Tetsuo to this little through the event horizon into this little universe that he creates to keep him safe. So it's almost like they made what do they call it in Stranger Things?
Upside down.
The upside down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's basically what they made in Akira was they made it upside down because you don't know that it's bad or whatever.
Yeah, to put it in like Judeo-Christian terms, in my mind, Akira transcend into heaven, but it can't be Vesper.
It's Vecna.
Vecna, there you go.
Vecna.
I was like, Vesper sounds like a Vespa, like a little motorcycle.
I know it's something.
Vecna, that's what it was. Vecna created, or yeah, I'm pretty sure he created a hell. I wouldn't be surprised if they were inspired by Akira, but also Silent Hill, because the Upside Down has always seemed like the I don't even know what it's called in Silent Hill, the alternate world.
I don't really remember the story in Stranger Things behind Henry Creel. He's the character that becomes Vecna.
Mm-hmm.
I remember they got into it. And I think at that point I was kind of losing interest into the series, but I think he had
a lot of times I lose interest in something when they say, "Oh, he's the bad guy." I like the idea of like nature. Like there's like the Upside Down was interesting because there's this world and it's corrupt and it's dangerous.
Yeah,
that was interesting. Oh no, but the entire thing is because of him.
Yeah,
it's like the Stephen King book Cell. Loved it. It was a fun book, but then they introduced, I think they called him the Raggedy Man. And it was like, oh, well, it's all because of this one dude. And I'm like, come on.
The little brief thing here says that Vecna or Henry Creel was a former human at Hawkins Lab, twisted by the Upside Down into a monster that feeds on trauma.
Oh, that's totally Silent Hill.
Yeah,
man, that's exactly what that is.
It's totally Netflix too.
Yeah, true. Well, Stranger Things, based on true story.
Well,
that's the other thing is Stranger Things is also somewhat based on the Montauk Project, and it's an actual like conspiracy theory. And there are people who claim to have been a part of the project, and it was all like testing children and unlocking psychic powers. Well, we know back like in the 60s and the 70s, the government was doing stuff with like LSD and stuff. Like
that's what I was trying to think of. What do you call all the people that can get activated? What was that called?
Oh, the American Ultra Project.
The
American Ultra? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Ultra. That's not right.
That's the movie.
Yeah, MK Ultra.
MK Ultra.
Yeah.
Yeah, MK Ultra.
Get there.
We get it. We take it together. We got it. Yeah, got it together.
Yeah, when you said something about like where they mistakenly veered off from Akira, I think that you could probably just say that was just by giving it to Netflix.
maybe.
Even if they had a good story going at the beginning of Stranger Things, and they just couldn't keep their Netflix people from Netflixing that whole series. Just why I never watched the last season of it.
It says that Netflix was influenced by Silent Hill. So, okay, if they were trying to combine the themes of those two properties, sure.
Yeah, you've got the same little government plot lines in both Akira and Stranger Things. Mm-hmm. Probably more direct as you have
it's the kids,
the kids room and the aesthetics of the labs
and the numbering,
and then the labs in Akira with all the little kid stuff and the toys, and then they had the little rainbow room and Stranger Things where it was like they had to have like a kid's whatever you call it, like a little kindergarten type room for the kids.
Right.
That was where they kept all the kids contained, made them think that they're actually not just being experiments and all that stuff.
Well, then you have beyond that, because that's pretty like a direct like plot wise comparison and inspiration.
Yeah, I've seen the Duffer Brothers interviewed, and they reference both of those, Elfen Lied and that's not really drawing anything. That's what they've said.
I mean, I could totally see Elfen Lied being like the 11 character based off of Lucy. Is that her name? It's been
an Elfen
20 years since I've seen that.
Yeah, so I have no idea.
Let's see. Yeah, Lucy.
Okay.
No, Nayu.
Okay. I'll take your
Same.
word.
I
Take
think
your
it's the
word for
same
it.
character. Yeah, the same character, Lucy and Nayu.
Gotcha.
Um, but aside from that,
We'd already mentioned Lawnmower Man as being
yeah,
a as a pretty direct because it is same main
sa-
character storyline, I guess.
yeah. It doesn't have the. I was going to say it doesn't have the experimentation on children, but if you consider Joe was childlike, yeah, kind of. It had
Yeah.
the experimentation on monkeys, so it had the
Oh,
government experimenting on
experiments
people.
on him.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So it has the government experiments and someone transcending, and Job even got to a point to where he like it affected his physical body. Like his instead of exploding, his physical body kind of went into a husk. Like
Yeah.
it got sucked out.
And we always we say Lawnmower Man. I guess we should really be saying Cyber God because that was the
Right, the
story
Lawnmower Man film.
that became the film. Because the
Yeah.
Lawnmower Man story is about one of Pan's servants that walks around naked and eats grass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not related to
Not
Akira.
related. But yeah, definitely the themes and the very loose plot of the Lawnmower Man film is very similar to what happens in Akira. I never heard, and this was literally only because we just watched Lawnmower Man last month. That's the only reason I even
I
made that comparison.
would have never thought of those two
No, not at
in
all.
the same breath, but when you're
It's right after another.
right after the other, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, that is too.
yeah,
Like I said,
seems
that
similar.
probably I've already made a couple references that you could at least twist around the corner to get to the Matrix.
Yeah.
With some of this.
Well, the Wachowskis explicitly said that they were inspired by Akira, but I
Okay.
think it's more they like Akira.
Yeah.
And they were inspired to make the Matrix because they like Akira.
Yeah.
I don't think it was so much that yes, there is
really.
an idea of the one and transcendence and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's loose at best.
Yeah.
Same with Ghost in the Shell. Some people say Ghost in the Shell was inspired by, but I don't know if it's so much that as it is, parallel creation.
Yeah. The man, it's been a little while on Ghost in the Shell. What is the
when was the manga written?
what is the main guy that is the sort of behind the scenes hacker?
What the name of the guy?
Yeah.
Who?
I'm getting there. It is. Oh Lord. I pulled up Ghost in the Shell and I get English and American cast, and I've got 58 people in front of me.
The Puppet Master, right?
Yeah, the Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going over different names in my head, and I was like, that's one of them.
That's kind of the same way where he.
Oh yeah, he's the Akira of Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah,
I could see that. See, I didn't really make that comparison before.
Where he gets kind of corrupted by the power,
and he precedes Motoko,
mm-hmm.
and he's kind of trying to get Motoko to.
He kind of transcends too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean,
again, that's
when you
that's stretching.
But... Yeah, there's you can do a lot of stretching because the idea of transcendence, especially when it comes to like technology, and because with Akira, it's more of a spiritual transcendence, but like with Ghost in the Shell, Matrix, Lawnmower Man, I'll even throw Lane, Serial Experiment Lane. Have you ever seen that?
I think my son.
You might have it somewhere, right?
I think my son has it.
But like,
because I remember we had it here on a shelf, and I looked one time, and we don't have it, so I think it must be something that he owns.
Fantastic premise. Like the opening of Lane is like someone killed themselves, and the next day everyone gets a text from them. It's a great opening premise, but it is also the idea of like transcending into the digital realm kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah,
I did a real quick search, and again, this is us just starting to look and not even really thinking this through too much. What Google came back with when I said similar themes and style was Ghost in the Shell, Chronicle, Stranger Things, and Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Tetsuo the Iron Man?
1989 Japanese cyberpunk body horror film with similar themes of technological mutation.
Oh, it's not an anime.
I have no idea. I would assume it would have to be to pull that off in 1989.
Yeah, Google Tetsuo the Iron Man.
It's an actual film.
Yeah, it's a live action dude.
Well,
That might be worth looking into. It's dude's like in a machine and he's like half machine and there's all these cables coming off of him. Very reminiscent of Tetsuo's mechanical arm. That's interesting.
That's kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
That's just still images. Yeah, I would have blanket assumed that was an anime, not a live action. But
All right. Are there any other legacies that you would like to talk about?
I mean, those are the guys that, like I
Really
said,
jumped out.
I think a Chronicle was obvious, and apparently
Yeah.
Google agrees
Yeah.
that was just listening to us and just copied what we said. But
Well, a couple of notes I have here is that director Ryan Johnson said that the telekinetic elements of Akira was an influence for Looper. You remember that movie?
oh yeah, that's
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, right?
Looper.
Right?
Okay, no, I was thinking of what's the other one with Anakin? Is that Jumper?
Oh yeah, Yeah, Jumper.
Yeah, Looper.
No, Looper's the time travel
the
where
Bruce Willis.
yes,
Yes.
Bruce Willis and just Gordon-Levitt. Like that, like without him saying that, I don't think I ever would have been like, oh, there's influence there.
I'd have to go back and even just watch that again. I remember seeing that and thinking it was kind of cool, but I don't. It did not burn itself into my memory for any reason. And it's got Emily Blunt in it too. How did I not?
Definitely, you're gonna put that on your list to watch.
Yeah.
But like even, did you ever see the movie Limitless?
Was that the
With Bradley Cooper?
Bradley? No.
Okay.
The other one, I think the one that I've seen that you haven't seen is Transcendence.
I've seen Transcendence.
Okay.
We can talk about Transcendence.
The Johnny Depp one.
I recently saw Transcendence.
Okay. I think the last time I brought it up, you had said you hadn't seen
yeah,
it.
I saw it last week
There
in anticipation of this. So
Gotcha.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I definitely could see the sharing of themes with that. Yeah. Again, it's aided by digital, but I think that's more because back in the early 80s, we weren't so obsessed with the idea of like our brains are really just biological computers and we're just machines. You know, that it was more along the lines of, you know, spiritual humans are special and things like that. So the idea that we can become better on our own power and on our own spirit was prevalent in that culture. Our culture today, we think, well, if we're going to get any better than it's a very transhuman concept. If we're going to get any better than this corrupt flesh that we have, we need help with digital technology.
Yeah.
And Transcendence is very much that.
I don't know why this.
Good movie though.
I just searched it differently. Films related to Akira movie. I bring back, of course, Chronicle, Looper, Upgrade. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Upgrade? That's stretching it, dude.
Is it?
Upgrade? Yeah.
I'd have to watch it again. I've seen it one time, and
Well,
it's like one of those things you can never find on streaming anymore.
Yeah. I've said before, okay, so I say Upgrade is a digital version of, or a technological version of Venom.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say Upgrade is reminiscent of Akira, you got to say Venom is reminiscent of Akira. And I don't see that. But again, you could be like, well, the fact that Venom's this amorphous blob creature, you can shove it in there if you want.
Do you remember Michael Shannon movie Midnight Special about the guy that's like fleeing with like a child that has like uncontainable power? It's again, I've only seen it like one time.
The name sounds familiar. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah. I think it's like little things like that are the things that Google tries to tie to it. It even ties like push. Psychic abilities hiding in a city.
Kind of like we were saying earlier, just because there's superpowers doesn't mean it's connected. Because like you have the whole American comic book industry that influences things.
And it says Inception.
Inception.
But it also, when you go back, it says anime movies that are tied to it. One of the first ones that it ties to it is Paprika. So I guess probably Inception and Google probably ties to it through Paprika.
I can see that. Paprika was inspired by Akira, and Paprika inspired Inception. Therefore, by the translator property, sure.
Tectonicrete.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
I've never said that title of that anime aloud.
The that one is kind of like kids in that decayed society
Hmm.
thing. So it's like little pieces of it here and there. It's not like any real direct kind of things. Of course, it says Metropolis, which we'll get to that one. Says even Genro is probably not a bad comparison because Genro is like a police story in the in this kind of like world where you have out of
In
control society and just rioting all the
Yeah,
time and all that stuff.
I would
And
say that if that was inspired by Akira, it's the elements that everything else is not inspired by,
yeah,
or it's not inspired by the same elements as everything else because there's no psychic power thing in
you know,
Genro,
I think
right?
it's completely on the the political
Yeah.
side of like Akira, where you have broken down society, you've got a corrupt government, you have terrorists, domestic terrorism plots going on inside of
I
your
would have
city.
to I'd have to rewatch it, but
And I love Jinro. We need to do a show on Jinro.
I like finding films that could be in the same universe. Like I would like to watch Jinro in the concept of like, could this have happened in the world of Akira?
there there was something about Jinro. I don't know if you know or if you remember about it being banned at times or in places because of the riot scene at the beginning of it, like being too
No.
like something the governments in a couple of countries were not, they didn't like how that was portrayed.
I mean, I'm not surprised. They're probably Australia.
But then you
Australia and maybe England.
you come back to, I think it's like a really realistic, really intense, violent
Yeah.
riot scene. But then you go back to the beginning of Akira where the guy's trying to shelter the little kid,
Hmm.
and he's
Yeah,
he,
that's pretty violent.
he gets like just he gets gunned down like not four times, like
Yeah.
40 times by the military police and that. So
And I don't think we can finish talking about Legacy of Akira without talking about Redline, the giant baby and giant nuclear baby in Redline. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen Redline?
yeah,
Yeah.
I have not seen it recently. I remember
Okay.
we were talking about it with the stuff from the Animatrix.
Hmm.
I don't remember the baby part in there honestly,
Yeah.
but it has that listed here
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
It says highly
That's
kinetic hand drawn racing anime with intense visuals. So
yeah.
I guess
It's
that's
just the giant baby kind of like evokes the Tetsuo baby.
yeah.
That's it. That's it.
They even tie in Cowboy Bebop with just the gritty aesthetic of it. So I mean, again,
Yeah.
it
No,
depends on where you want to draw
they're
your.
stretching some of these.
It's where you want to draw your line on how much you want to connect something to it.
I
But
mean, like that would be like Wild Wild West was inspired by the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like,
yeah,
no, come on.
I think it's probably trying to pull out things that are probably cyberpunk
Right.
cities, and this Akira is one of the early versions of cyberpunk. Really,
I don't know if I can. I'm trying to think if I don't know if I would even really consider Akira. It's cyberpunk light, if anything.
the yeah, this is a 1982
Yeah.
version of what they think Neo Tokyo in 2019 is going to look like, and
If they had like cyber decks or something like the if because the computer stuff is just the government stuff and the citizen bike.
yeah,
That's like the technology in the world. If they were running around with like little personal computers or something, I'd be like, okay,
I
cyberpunk.
think it's
But,
like even the advertisements and things on tops of the buildings and stuff aesthetically are a
oh,
little bit
true.
like
Well, is that not just how Japan looked with billboards and stuff?
yeah,
Neon billboards.
yeah. I mean, it kind of does now
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, it does
But
now. Maybe I don't know if it did then.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I know you're kind of more the Blade Runner aficionado than I
Yeah.
am.
Well, yeah, Blade
This
Runner was definitely just a takeoff of Japanese aesthetics.
this was
Absolutely.
written in 80, 82 through 90. When was Blade Runner again? Was it mid
The
80s,
movie, yeah, late '80s.
late 80s? So a lot of, maybe it's the parallel
Oh,
creation.
early '80s, 1982.
Okay,
So, so if there was inspiration, it was the
might
other way.
might have been the other
Yeah,
way. And it's interesting they don't even list Blade Runner here. I'm
yeah,
like, wow,
interesting.
interesting. I'll list all this other stuff and not Blade
Yeah.
Runner.
Um, go back to Limitless. In Limitless, Bradley Cooper's character takes a pill and he becomes like super smart.
Yeah,
It's more like kind of plot wise like Lucy,
yeah, yeah.
and Lucy is another one. Lucy's very much she gets a drug and she transcends,
It's funny how like
becomes something more.
imagery for Akira is pills.
Hmm.
So many things are, you see any kind of image. One of the there's a, should I just watch Akira? What other masterpieces should I watch? And beside it is a little picture of the pill.
Oh,
I guess that's one of the iconic images of that. That's kind of
Mhm.
funny. Like the pill doesn't do any has anything to do with like any of the psychic powers. It was just an attempt
No,
to
it was
keep
just
them.
it was a part of the youth culture
Yeah,
of the time.
yeah, and the pills were what they were doing to try to keep the city from blowing up
I,
because of.
I'm sure someone's written some paper or something where it talks about the pills being a source of control, and that's how they controlled the youth. And I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Like I said, I think you could. That's just
We're,
what Google came
we're,
with.
we're starting to be that guy with the bulletin board and a bunch of things on the bulletin board with red strings going across them.
I could put it together.
Yeah.
I was just scrolling that through stuff that this kind of coming to mind as I've been sitting here and thinking, like, going back to Evangelion and Appleseed and stuff that I could find all kinds of ways to tie this to stuff if you give me enough time. So
Yeah, yeah, and some of it you just get to the point to where it's just like kind of like saying, "Oh, well, Beauty and the Beast is tied to the Little Mermaid just because they're from the same studio or they look similar."
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, those are
You could do
some
the
of the
ones
legacies of Akira.
you could probably do it in two ways. You could do these are the ones that kind of were really heavily influenced or drew their influence from Akira, and then you could do a separate list of these are the ones that you should watch because you liked Akira.
Right. Yeah.
Those are two different paths that I think these paths Google is mixing those two paths
Yeah.
pretty heavily.
And I think the last thing I want to mention is actually the slide that we have up. It's the Akira slide. And all that is a little bit of fan service that has permeated so much of our media. You can go on YouTube and just type in Akira slide compilation or something like that, and it'll just show you a whole bunch of, like 1 second clips where they have, I think, pretty much all of its animation except one in Nope. You see it?
No.
Movie? Okay. In Nope, the main female character, she's riding a motorcycle at one point, and she does the Akira slide. I think that might be the only that I'm aware of.
I didn't see it when you pulled it up. I was getting ready to say it, and it's down here in the corner.
Yeah.
Gindi
Obi-Wan.
The Gindi Clone War stuff.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. And in this, it has the Nope as well. It's up there.
Oh, okay.
So apparently the Ninja Turtles, I didn't even know this. The Ninja Turtles had a slide apparently at one point, but yeah, it's everywhere.
There's probably a G.I. Joe one too.
I'm sure.
I go back through my old cartoons. There's probably one there.
Maybe I'll have to use that same motion replacer that I use to make our little characters dance. See if I could make them do an Akira slide.
Just put me on a Craftsman lawnmower.
There you
Akira
go.
slide on that. There's your Appalachian Dim Sum tie-in.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for our look at Akira.
Yes. Yeah, I think when we come back our next episode, we're going to look at some of the other works from Otomo.
Yep.
And
let's finish up this segment and then we'll close out the episode.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back with the closing.